Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So, it is a 15-game NHL schedule day on a Saturday. Great NHL scheduling. I already made a video on that a few days ago. Um, but it's also a 1 to 9 shift for me at work, which I don't get often. Being a 16-year-old kid, I don't work very often. So, obviously, it's good to have shifts like that. But I do want to keep my video streak going. So, we are making this pre recorded video. And I thought about making a video on a certain team, but 98% of them play today. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I make a video on something else? So I went into the fun little list pile and I found something that I think a lot of people will be interested in, how I watch all 32 teams. Now, I'm not one of those people who will just have like five different tabs open and like swap between them. I've tried that. No, can't do that. There will be instances though where I will be obviously, um, you know, I'll be watching like a Predators versus Capitals game, and then one of my favorite teams will be playing, and I'll put it up on another screen, another computer, because I do have two laptops that I use. So maybe I'll do that, but that's really the only instance where I'm not watching just one singular game. And I try and watch as much as I possibly can. There will be nights where I'll come home from a varsity game and I'll watch a game. I'll watch a 10 p.m. game. There will be nights where I like. There will be times where I have to go out at like 10 p.m. and I'll watch a game before, or there'll be nights where I just have the night off and I'll watch a 7 p.m., maybe 8 p.m. game. Sometimes I'll watch a 10 p.m. game depending on whether it's a weekend or a weekday. It really depends. But I try and watch as much hockey as possible. Not only because, like, oh, I want to say, oh yeah, I watch all 32 teams. I want to have a legitimate opinion on all 32 teams. And obviously, with that too, like, if I were to make a video ranking the teams, based on how much I enjoy watching them, obviously, like, that'd be a different video for itself. But that does play a factor for me. And definitely there too. Like another thing that wants me to, is like you want to have an opinion for everything. And like obviously I don't want to be repeating what everyone says. Like you don't want to go to another YouTuber's page and hear them say pretty much the exact same thing that I'm about to say. So obviously you don't want to see that. And I'm not like the hockey guy. I can't. And God bless the hockey guy. He's the reason why I do this. I can't just do all that, and I don't have the time span. I'm still in school. I'm a junior in high school. I don't have the time to do that. Simple as that. Um, I do though try and watch as much as I can, literally as much as I can. So I have been keeping track of the amount of games that I have watched in 2023, not just 23-24, but 2023 as a whole. I have watched a total of 186 games amongst all 32 teams. There actually might be some college games in there. Yeah, there is some college and international games in there because the World Juniors were going on at the beginning of the year, and I did decide to keep track of that. Kind of stopped since then, but I might bring it back. Who knows? But I love doing this because it just shows to me like how much I've watched hockey over the past year, and looking at all these games that I've watched. Almost all of them I've watched at least 10 times. There's a few teams where I've watched a little less than that. Some of them around 8 to 9 range. Some of them like maybe 6 times. The lowest I think is like 4, but I try and watch every team as much as I literally can. And definitely it's difficult managing all 32 teams, especially when I manage all the stuff that I said at the beginning of the video. Um, it's really difficult. So I have it all in my notes. I'll probably put up pictures on screen. So you obviously like don't need to see visual because visual learners. I'm a visual learner. So I've been keeping track. The most games that I've watched for a team is the Florida Panthers. Now, that really shouldn't come as a surprise. Florida, obviously, I've watched a few games from this season. I watched their entire playoff run last year. Of course, they'll be first on this list. And, you're going to notice that a lot of the playoff teams will be higher on these lists. Next up, I believe, then, is, I think it's Vegas. Yeah, Vegas with 19 games that I've watched with watching Vegas. And Vegas, again, very fun team, entertaining to watch. I'll stay up if my Flyers are playing them or my Coyotes. We'll get into that in a second. They aren't like even really close to the most watched teams either. But definitely, like with those teams, like obviously the playoff teams are going to be much higher on this list. Like Toronto, for example, and Tampa are both at 16. I've watched them each 16 times. Oilers 14 times, Devils 17 times, Boston 13 times. Why do I do this? You're probably thinking, Nordic, why do you keep track of this? This is stupid. I enjoy it. I don't know why. It's just something that like I really enjoy doing, and it's a lot of fun updating every single night, and it's just something I like doing, and I like seeing all the new players. I've watched some pretty awesome games when keeping track of this. So one thing that I've been doing too is keeping like a game by game result. So the first game that I watched in 2023 was Devils versus Carolina, which was a 5-4 Carolina shootout win. Can't tell you who scored in it because it was like 11 months ago, but you know what? Why not? So I also like keep track too. Like I got like the Winter Classic in here. I got like the World Junior quarterfinals. Where like Canada played Slovakia, Connor Bedard with the heartbreaker selling in overtime. I do remember that. Obviously, I don't remember like every single one of these games heart to heart. Some of them I'll remember looking back at them. I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember watching that. I remember looking at that game. I remember seeing the highlights from whoever played really well that night. Like this Philadelphia versus Kings game went to overtime. Obviously, I think it was Hayes that took a penalty at the end, or I think it was no, it was Jeff Carter, or what the hell am I saying? It was someone on the Kings who tripped the flyer, didn't get a call for it, and then the Kings went down the other way and scored, and I was bitching about it. That's why I remember that game very well. And then obviously too, like I keep track of the games that I've been to as well. Like I'll look through, like I'll post on screen right now. I literally have like a record that I keep track of all the games that I've been to, and you'll see like you got like AHL, NHL, college leagues in there too. Like everything dating back to like my first ever game on my birthday, which was like in 2019. That's like when I started keeping track of all the games, which I thought was cool. And then the last thing I want to mention too was that I also like kept a record of all the teams. And like my records of when I watch all the teams. So I'd say the best record and the record that stayed the most consistent is Vegas with 11-2-3 record. Vegas, obviously one of the higher ranked teams up there. Of course, they're going to have a really good record. Hasn't been many times where I've watched Vegas lose. Not very often. So definitely, Vegas is up there. But you look at these lists too. Like you got Boston 8-0-2. I don't know what it is, but every time I watch Boston, they always win in regulation. There hasn't been a time where they've lost in regulation, and I've watched them. It's just absolutely insane. Additionally, too, you look at some of these. Florida 11-7, Edmonton 6-6-2. It's funny because like that record was actually pretty decent before the season started, and then I watched like 4 of the first 6 games for the Oilers, and it just fell off a cliff. It's just how it is. And that's how it goes too. Like you're probably wondering, oh, how do you even determine like what team you watch on a night to night basis? I spin a wheel. Yeah, I spin a wheel. You want to know how these jerseys get in the back of the wall? I spin a wheel. You want to know how I'm wearing this right now? I spun a wheel. You want to know how the pennants are the way they are this month? I spun a wheel. That's pretty much what I do for everything. So yeah, I'll put all the games for like a 7 p.m., 7:30, sometimes 8 p.m. depending on whether or not I'm tired or not matchup. And then I'll watch whatever I get, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't really get to pick and choose. If the Flyers or the Coyotes are playing a really close game, maybe I'll turn that on. But usually I let the wheel choose what I watch because I think it's more entertaining that way. And I get to watch other teams in the league as well. Now, is it as entertaining as like the Flyers and the Coyotes and my favorite teams? No, obviously not. Like nobody's openly going to watch the Columbus Blue Jackets if you're not a Columbus Blue Jackets fan. Like you're like unless if you're doing it for a purpose, I doubt it. I mean, like I guess I'm doing it for a purpose, but I probably would do it anyways because I really enjoy just watching hockey altogether. So that obviously plays a factor there too. But speaking of which, Columbus 2-6-1 when I watched them. Just I don't know what it is. And then like to wrap it up, some of the worser records that I have. I know like San Jose's 0-4, but San Jose's been terrible this year. Every game that I've watched has been horrible for them. Other ones, Philadelphia's 8-4-2. Devils 5-6-1, which is interesting considering the fact that I've watched so many games of them. Um, Detroit 5-0. I don't know what it is, but like I only watched like one Detroit game in 22-23. In 23-24, I've watched four already, and they're literally 5-0. Like it's insane. I'm undefeated whenever I watch them play. So Detroit fans, maybe you want to recruit me. But regardless, just a fun video. A video that didn't take too long to make. It's literally almost 1:00 a.m. And I'm coming off of a 5 to 10:30 shift, so it's just another one of those grind working days for me. But regardless, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Hit that subscribe button down below. I greatly appreciate it. We'll be back to a single team video tomorrow probably. Haven't decided what team. I got 32 to choose from. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.